Everyone, good to see y'all. I'm an instructor, faculty instructor at OTC. I teach computer science. This slideshow was tasked by my chair, Dr. Tiffany Ford, to how would you explain the differences to a group full of people from all different backgrounds about the differences between frameworks and a library. So she said, you know, put it together, creative juices shall flow, and it did, and this is it. And so we're going to talk about frameworks, libraries, code, and yes, we're going to talk about corn. Now, again, we're all coming, just like a classroom, we're all from different backgrounds. We have all kinds of different levels of understanding, and that's what this group is about, to come together and get exposed to things. And so this is not to insult anybody's intelligence. So please look for any, as they say, chew up the meat and spit out the bones if you would. All right? All right. All right, well, we're going to talk about a story about great-great-uncle George first. We're going to have a story, and then we're going to have a bridge and go over to some concepts, and then we're going to do some wrap-ups at the end, okay? So that's our little general map there. Well, great-great-uncle George, look at him there. What is he cooking? He's cooking honey butter skillet corn. Has anybody ever had that? Oh, Ambrosia, you must try it. Oh my goodness gracious. But what we had is old Billy Joe Jim Bob, he wanted to get this recipe right from great-great-uncle George. He wanted to cook this up. He heard about it. And every time he went camping, he'd take his skillet and he'd take a box full of corn and he would shuck it up. And boy, he'd add that honey and add that butter. Oh, so good. Out there with nature, it was a delight. Oh, well, let's have a little, Mr. Bud often ponders things in the middle of things. Call it ADHD or just call it a curious mind, what you will. You see, is everybody wearing jeans? If you lean back on those Christmas cookies, you might see that pocket right there. And here's my question. What is that extra little pocket for? Anybody? Yes?
I thought it was to
Hide
hide your marijuana.
marijuana, okay. Pieces of fudge, oh yes. Yeah. Anybody else? Sean? For coins. Yeah, coins, I've heard coins. What's pocket watch? Is anybody wearing pocket watches nowadays? That's a good guess, but I mean, think about this. I'm running Levi's. I'm going to take extra time, extra thread, another rivet, for what? What's the point? What's this for? Corn. Well, guess what? You're absolutely right, sir. And everybody else that said that, I think I heard a couple of them. Yep, it was for pocket watches. This was the only timekeeping thing we had. And of course, not everyone was Sherlock Holmes and had that fancy lid that popped open. They had that crystal face on the front and needed to protect it while you're digging around. Well, that's very interesting. What an interesting, so we have a 100-year-old solution on your pair of pants that is almost absolutely irrelevant. What in the world is going on? Let's get back to corn, shall we? Well, he started throwing parties, old Billy Joe Jim Bob. Oh man, those backyard parties, turn down the music. Okay, so the lights were on, the torches were going, the friends were eating honey butter corn. He got his skillet out, and guess what he was doing? Yeah, he wasn't partying. He was shucking corn and cooking, and he was spending a lot of time and a lot of money for his friends, and he was exhausted. He called Grandma. Grandma, I'm dying over here. What are you doing? Listen, you're making this too hard. You need some little pieces of equipment with little machines to process both fresh and preserved food. Would you stop camping at home? Look, this is what I got in my house. It makes life simple. Why don't you try that, young man? Well, he did. He got himself a pantry and put in little machines that made things easier and quicker. And look what he did. He even canned some corn there. Kind of saved him some time, didn't it? Well, that's very interesting. Well, with all that efficiency, he decided to open it up on his back porch. He called it the Precious Pantry Home Restaurant. And so he was saving time and money and was doing pretty good until, oh my Lord, it's the COVID-19 of corn. Some blight came through, and guess what? corn prices went out of sight. What are we going to do? I mean, he's got a restaurant at home to run. Well, he went and talked to his friend, grocer Gary. Gary, what am I to do? He said, you just need to buy some corn. He goes, oh, isn't that making me the patronizing pantry? He goes, you have to think of the brands. The branded pantry is it's just virtual equipment and virtual machines doing the work you're doing manually. So listen, it's not one or the other, do both. So, wow, this was genius. So now he gets to have both worlds if you'd like, and he's saving time and money. Oh, his friends rejoiced. He says, look, we've got money. We want to invest in you, my friend. This is delicious. You need to make this a franchise. Well, wait a minute. Let's ponder something, shall we? Everybody got their phones? Let's look at our keyboard, shall we? Oh, what a lovely keyboard. Have you noticed when you open that keyboard, up at the top left, there's the word QWERTY. Now, I know some of you silverbacks know exactly what that means. QWERTY keyboard. Oh, look, it's on an old-fashioned typewriter. So Mr. Bud ponders, why are the letters all mixed up on the keyboard? Why don't we just go A, B, C? After all, we all do it with one thumb or two or fingers. Why is it all mixed up?
You want your stronger fingers to work with the most common letters.
There you go. If you're going to hunt and peck, you need the common letters easy to get to, right?
But that's not why we have QWERTY.
Oh, it's not. Okay, I see. Well, there you are. That's not why then. Okay. Anybody else? Any other? Come on, this is the pillar of Springfield. Yes, Mr. Ben.
It was to slow you down.
To slow you down.
The levers didn't hit each other and get stuck.
Oh, is that right?
Right.
Interesting. Is that right? Okay. All right. Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions or answers? That's it? Nothing? No idea why those keys are all mixed up. Okay. Well, you're absolutely right. You go too fast, you actually become inefficient, and you jam those keys. Isn't that interesting? Well, yeah, we're going back to corn, but 100-year-old solution. Are you jamming keys on your phone? Are you jamming keys on your iPad? What's going on here, people? We just blindly accept a solution from 100 years ago? Interesting. Open a franchise. Are you out of your mind? I'm on my back porch. I can't even keep the kitchen clean. I need some help. I'm calling Cousin Vinny, the franchise king of 1977. Yo, Vinny. He said, I got one question for you. What's the cuisine? And he explained, he said, look, Cousin Billy Joe Jim Bomb, and I can't talk with a New York accent, so forgive if your brain starts twitching, that's why. Look, there's food safety management. You got to manage a restaurant. There's food supply. There's all kinds of things that go into a restaurant. And there's also standard industry requirements. What's going on with your city's codes? Do you know? Well, I do, and you know what I did? I started putting all that information into standardized architectural solutions. So what we do is we take all those ingredients, we get your cooking method along with your precious pantry equipment. We put that inside, shall we say, a wrapper of standard requirements required by law, the time and money, and what people need. And we turn that into a restaurant environment. And once we have that, you know what I do? I make an architectural model of it, and then I quadruple it 1,000 times, or in this case, 50. So, one thing, cuz you need to remember one very important thing. I want you to always remember this, cuz Billy Joe Jim Bob, that pantry equipment does not equal restaurant environment. Do we all have that? Capiche? All right, very good. Capiche. Oh, but Cousin Vinny, doesn't this take away my freedom in the kitchen? I mean, my soul is in just the liberty of being able to cook this honey butter corn. He goes, let me explain something to you, cuz flippity flop of the payoff plop is what you're missing. The flippity flop of the payoff plop. Everybody got that? Because you see, the payoff depends on your goal. If you look at this Jeep, it's a four-wheel drive. He wants to be able to go anywhere he wants, but he can't go fast, can he? He can go anywhere he wants, but he can't go fast. On the other hand, this is a very restricted car. Round and round we go. It can go very, very fast, but it can't go anywhere it wants. Depends on your payoff. And so we find a middle ground in our common society. The standardized road designs controls movement, but with payoff. You're flexible, but you got to obey the rules. Isn't that interesting? And so we put that in a standardized kitchen design. You have the kitchen area and the dining area, which controls movement, but with a payoff. You see, we have a division of roles, and we just call it back-end development and front-end development. Isn't that interesting? Yep, we're all working with corn. And we all have the same goal. We're taking raw product and developing it into a desirable, consumable product. That's what we do all day long. So, wow, he was so happy, Billy Joe, Jim Bob, because it handled his equipment, it handled his personnel, it handled his inspections, his audits, and also logistics. And so he invested in 5, called it the Precious Pantry Restaurant. He was so excited. Oh my goodness, did anybody ponder the Napoleon movie? Anybody see the Napoleon movie? No. Was it Oppenheimer? Okay, well, it was Oppenheimer. What was the other one? Barbie? Was that the same time? I can't remember. So how many went to Barbie? Yeah, look at all the raised eyebrows. I knew it. Well, we also had Napoleon. We have Ben Franklin. Now, we don't often see Ben Franklin painted at this, but here's Ben Franklin. How majestic, how noble, how velvety. Oh, yes. Oh, George Washington. I love the gold and red. I have one little thought, though. Did these historical figures ever use toilet paper? Not all at once now. The statesmen changing the course of history, the great experiment. Did they use toilet paper? Speak forth. Be free of your burden. Got to know? Or Sears catalog? The glossy print one. Sorry, Levi. All right, yes.
Okay, so we think about the American Republic being built up of Roman and Greek theories of running government and whatnot.
Hang on. So repeating this outside, everybody. So he is contemplating the governments based on Greek and Roman government. Right.
So we're going to apply that to this situation.
We're applying this to the situation.
The Romans would go to a bathhouse, and then what they would do is they'd take like a sponge, a communal sponge, and then that's how they wipe.
Really?
That's how they did it too, I'm sure.
We're talking about
Maybe in the
corn.
Ozarks, but not
Corn
in New
cob,
York.
somebody yelled out. Oh my goodness. Very interesting. Wow. Holy moly. What was the first network that American homes ever experienced? The first network. Who said that? What did you say, Sean? Plumbing. Absolutely correct. The first network installed in homes was of water. Plumbing. And if you can look carefully there, unfortunately, all is way back there, but rather noble toilet there. We have a shower, stand-up shower, and a bath. And yeah, the short one, we all know what that one's for. All right? Yes, so suddenly we have a new paradigm that has entered the home called plumbing, right? And that came together at the same time as a new word called hygiene. Because in World War I, where are they standing in? Is that muddy water only? No, it is not, my friends. Where do you use a bathroom in a trench? Where do dead bodies rot in a trench? Why were more people dying from this thing called hygiene than from getting shot? Yeah, it was a new term. And of course, during this time, the sciences were advancing. So yeah, is there an extrovert in the crowd? Come on, there's got to be an IT extrovert. Anybody? Anybody? Are you? Can you read? Yeah. This far? Okay, I'm going to make it larger. I want you to read this poster for me real loud.
You deliberately expose your children to disease when you allow them to use the same towel at school that 60 or 70 other people use. Avoid this danger by providing them with a few
Scott towels. Tissues. Wow. Can't wait to go to school. Wow. Like this was no. Yeah, I'd rather have a stick and a sponge. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they had 30 of those a month. Sure, right. Wow, are you kidding me? Like, look at the paradigm we're sitting in, that this was normal. Hey, can you still buy Scott towels today? You can, still going today. Isn't that amazing? 100-year-old solution. All right, let's cross some bridges, shall we? How we doing? Nobody's in the fetus position yet. We're doing good. All right, here we go. Raw data, coding languages, framework environments. Raw data, coding languages, framework environments. Branded libraries. There's a difference between the pantry and a framework. The flippity-flop of the payoff plop, formally we call it the inversion of control. You're giving up some control, but the standardized framework controls your flexibility, but it gives you a lot of payoff, right? Programming languages out the wazoo, going all the way to, God bless it, COBOL and Delphi and Pascal. Yeah, baby. Those are just types of cuisine. No big deal. Frameworks, yeah, tons of those. Those are just another type of building or a restaurant architectural style. Yes, blah, blah, blah. I need a job. But how do I choose? Well, Gandalf says, look to the solution a framework provides accompany on the first light of the fifth day. Then at dawn look to the east for the phrase or equivalent. When you're looking at job postings, or equivalent. All right, let's make it simple. A framework, Taco Bell, which specializes in Mexican food and fast food. Quick question, do you guys consider Taco Bell Mexican food? No. Whoa. Group participation. Tex-Mex? No? Interesting. What do you consider it? No categories. All right, so we have a framework with specialization or equivalent. On the bottom left, we have Mexican restaurant, or not, but it's a family restaurant, so 2 out of 3 ain't bad. And on the right, we have McDonald's and fast food, but not Mexican food. That's or equivalent. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So, or equivalent is what you're looking for. You might see that they're looking for, you need to know a particular thing, a framework, but do some research and find the equivalent. And you'll find you might get some interviews. Now, we'll stop for a moment. Are there any questions so far? This is not the end, Dr. Levi.
Okay. I'll bring the mic. Anyone who has a question?
Any questions so far about corn? I see some double blinking. Go ahead, speak.
Is the recipe just 3 ingredients?
I think there's a 4th. I think cream cheese is involved.
Oh.
Holy moly, cream cheese, butter, honey, and corn, just to keep it all together.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Any other questions? Okay, what is the one question nobody's asking? Come on, people. Sean, I'm not answering you, OTCer. What's the one question nobody's answering? This is like my classroom. Did y'all understand the words coming out of my mouth? No. Yes, no. What about the contemplation items? What was that about? Y'all forget that? Oh man, what a roller coaster ride. Okay, well, let's not lose our lunch. Here we go. The same driving forces still sustained from past solutions will exist again in your future projects. Tradition, momentum, and you're trying to change something while something else is in motion. Everybody, programmers just love it in school because they're starting from scratch. Hey, fresh, new, clean. That's not what we do in the real world, is it? You're doing something while the business is running. We don't stop so you can test something. You have to change the tire while the car is going down the road. This is normal, right? The same driving paradigms which will create future solutions have already existed in past projects. Does anybody recognize these old pictures? Oh, you guys are missing some juice. Maybe a different PowerPoint presentation. The same driving paradigms. Here we go. Same story. I'm just repeating the words. Where am I at? Where am I going? Anybody recognize the chariot, south-pointing chariot? No matter where you turn the cart, it will always point south once you calibrate it. Easy on wide open plains. Where am I at? Where am I going? Oh, let's see what we have here. The first one is a spindle with little pointy things. The second one is a cylinder with holes, punched holes. Looks like it moves things, makes music, water-driven. Oh, look at the programmers off on the right. You know, on Fridays, you can bring in your dog and you can dress any way you want all week long. Very casual. Jacquard. Anybody see this on the Cotton website? You can go there right this second. Jacquard. How about the Jacquard loom? Anybody speak French in here fluently? There it is. Wow. Punched holes. Interesting. Punched holes which produce a consistent output. Ooh, expanding memory. Look at those punched holes. How amazing. Oh, punched holes. Whoa, look at that. First word, robot. Harvard Mark I. Look at that. It's not a USB drive, is it? Anybody download a patch recently? Where do you think that came from? A patch. Yep. Punched hole. Oh, punched holes. What? Punch cards. Ooh, look at that program. Nobody sneeze. Look at that. Oh, punched holes? What do you think? Past paradigms exist presently. The same ideas were back then. How interesting. My shout out is to Admiral Grace Hopper. My life would not be what it is today without her, and I appreciate her. So here's the takeaway. Strive to see the true context of the parallel universes that daily surround us. We live already in parallel universes. It's amazing, the different ideas and ways of living around us. And then you can work better, live better, and eat good corn. Thank you very much.